So what people probably don't know is we actually filmed we filmed your wedding.
Yeah.
You were the safety plan.
I was the safety net.
For 4 months.
For 4 months, it just took off. It was just her, and then like it just went off like gangbusters.
Yeah, Nancy and I were talking the other day
Yeah.
about like all the cool people we've met over time, and then like a lot of these people we've met over time all have really cool businesses now. And we know working together and being the owners of TRIWORKS in our business that it can be interesting as a couple.
Sure.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But you guys have been extremely successful, and we just kind of want to go over some of that neat stuff and kind of how we met and all this stuff. So we did meet you guys how long ago?
Probably over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to have our 10-year anniversary
10 years.
in July.
That's insane.
So, yeah, it's been 10 years.
So what people probably don't know is we actually filmed your wedding.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
That was crazy. The wedding for me too, going back to that day, was actually I'm just gonna say this, was actually my favorite wedding ever to film. Like,
Wow.
like that's the true story. I never really liked filming weddings, but it was a necessary evil.
Yeah.
And you disclosed that.
You told us that when we met.
I think I did, right? Like,
Before the-
but you guys, I don't know, you remember.
I remember. It was such a special day, and you guys were so sweet, and your families were so sweet, and you could just feel the love in the room, right? And it's a lot of weddings, it's more about the party.
Yeah.
And for you guys, it was more about the love that you had for each other.
Yeah.
And we remember feeling that. And that was really cool.
No, for sure. Like the love shine through, the family, your dad, everyone.
yeah.
I mean, I just remember the whole thing. I was like, this is pretty incredible. So
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing what you guys did. I mean,
I know the
was
way they
blown
captured
away.
it
When
was-
we first saw it, I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, this is like a movie.
Yeah.
Or a music video. It was
Yeah, it was like a music video.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
But we were talking before we started filming,
Yeah.
the way that we found you guys. I was still working. We worked together in Raleigh.
Right.
And I was studying for licensures after work.
Okay.
And also planning our wedding. And
Long days.
Long days. But I remember looking through and like all the different other videographers were like tripods.
Yeah.
You could like hear the wind in the background, and it was like birds.
What
and
am I gonna do?
I'm like, I can't even hear these guys exchanging their vows. And then I stumbled across one of your videos on YouTube.
Wow.
And it was like drone footage and
Yeah, Christina
just-
was like, check this out.
yeah.
I was like, never saw anything like that before.
Yeah.
I was like,
And you
wow.
emailed right back, and I was like,
Oh
I
my
think there's a
God.
chance.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying there's a chance.
The,
Yeah.
the drone thing there too was so sketch back in that day.
Yeah.
The technology to get that thing to do the thing for 5 minutes was pretty incredible.
That was when wedding films was like not really there yet. It
Right.
was just getting a little popular.
true.
I do remember that because it was like on a tripod normally.
Yeah.
But yeah, wedding films was new then.
So everybody knows you guys by what you're currently doing, right? So I wanted to hit a little bit on like, what did you guys do before? Like, what industries did you come from?
So we both worked at a company called Cap Trust. I started there a couple years after college, and I'd been there for about 5 or 6 years. And then Christina got hired on from NC State.
And what is Cap Trust?
It's an investment advisory firm.
All right. So did you guys handle portfolios and things like that, and no joke?
Well, we worked on different teams.
Yeah.
So
We're on the client relationship side,
Okay.
working with advisors across the country. She worked on the sexy side of the business. She was working with NFL football players.
No way.
I love it.
No
I
way.
was
Can you like name drop any of
wealth
that?
and 401k pension plan stuff. So
I feel like some of them might still be in the industry. Sadly,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
most of them aren't because it's a pretty short livelihood in that
Gotcha.
industry. But yeah, that's
that's
cool.
how we met.
That's how we
Became
met.
friends and then started dating, and the rest is history.
Aw.
Let me ask you this: what did those jobs, the job there, has that helped you do what you do now?
for all of the back end stuff. It's all finance. I think so many people don't realize when you are opening a business, it is all about the finances.
numbers. You have to know
yeah,
the
the
numbers.
numbers have to make sense, and you also have to have a really good grasp of future numbers as well. And so I think that helped us tremendously.
Yeah, and I'd also say like building client relationships, because
Yeah.
it's not like, somebody just comes in, buys something, and that's it. I mean, Christina's got a lot of design clients where they're customers, hopefully for life. They keep coming back, and updating maybe like one room here or a whole house, where they decide to like, hey, I'm selling this and I'm going to buy another house and I need help. So
That's a good point.
we've had a lot of customers
thought
that
of-
keep coming back over the years.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Yeah.
Well, especially in a small town, I think a lot of our business is driven by word of mouth, and
Yeah.
it's very easy to mess it up.
Yeah.
Because
reputation's everything.
Oh my
That's the
gosh,
number one.
yeah. And not a lot of people will share all the positives, but someone will share a negative like that.
Quickly.
Right.
So I think that's a good point I hadn't thought of. The client relationship building that we learned there.
You probably learned how to deal with difficult situations too. I mean, you know, when you're dealing with people's money and they lost money or they gained money,
Right.
or you're
Sure.
trying to give them insights.
Sure.
And I'm sure when the phone call
It's more
comes,
stressful when it comes to the money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's nice, not to have that, because I mean, you're doing someone's home and they're making it look nice and pretty,
Yeah.
and they enjoy it. But when
Yeah.
you're like taking money out of somebody's pocket, or somebody's losing money in the market, I mean, it gets real
it gets
fast.
hot quick.
Yeah, hot. That's all right. Hot, real fast.
Cool. Yeah. So taking people's money and then hopefully improving on that. Did you guys learn to save early? Like, when did you get in your brain? I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry.
No, you have to ask the question.
When did you get in your brain that, man, we're going to move to the coast? Like when did you go from working with NFL players dealing with all the hot sauce?
So my family's been coming down here a long time. Like, family's always had like a second home here. My mother grew up coming down here. I grew up coming down here. So I kind of knew the lay of the land. And basically anybody you talk to that was kind of like living down here, they're like, you kind of got to pave your own way. There's just not the jobs like we were doing here to like really do it. So we were like, well, let's just kind of see if it works. So Christina kind of came down first, and then I kind of stayed back, and then
You were the safety plan.
I was the safety net.
for
You were the
4
safety
months.
For 4 months, it just took off. It was just her, and then like it just went off like gangbusters.
Yeah, but you didn't know that, right? Like
No.
No.
Like-
We had no clue. We opened like in the winter. People were like,
Yeah.
"You're crazy."
Yep.
Because
But
back
part of
then
that
there
was
were
wanting to get to know people
right,
in town too.
but that was when there was like it was a seasonal town. I feel like now it's like
Yeah, it's
completely
different.
changed. There's just people here all the time, especially after COVID. Like people just retired early and decided, hey, I'm coming down and I'm staying for good,
or you can just work from wherever you want to
or
work.
work remotely.
Yeah, it just
Work in any
changes
resort
the whole
town
dynamic
across the world.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: owning your business like this, how many people thought you were crazy? How many people thought you were crazy?
Everyone.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot of coworkers, a lot of managers were like,
What are you
I mean, what are
doing?
y'all doing? Can y'all kind of like
And they're like,
think
you can
about
go,
this? I mean, we had great jobs.
Yeah.
Great company.
Benefits
You know,
and,
it's
yeah,
just
big
like we're
company.
like, well, we're young. We don't have kids. If
Yeah.
we're going to do it, let's do it. If it doesn't work, then we can just
they're like,
go
you're going
back
to
the
give up
corporate
all
world.
this to go sell pillows.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, that's what and they didn't get it.
They
And I
didn't get it.
remember, like,
Yeah.
when we first started, do you remember Johnny? He's our Beaufort Realty next door. He came to
Oh,
us
I
and he
love
was,
him.
we love Johnny. And he was like, man, would y'all want to, like, wash the sheets at our rental houses? Because I think he was worried about us,
He's
too. He was like,
we
what are
could
you guys
totally
doing
get a
over
washer and dryer
here?
plumbed in the back stock room. It'll totally work. And if you need to sleep back there,
You could
you
sleep-
can put
yeah.
in a Murphy bed.
Yeah.
But I think he got it, and everybody started to get it. But that's the thing I think that's so hard for a lot of people is to have the vision and be able to execute it. And we really couldn't afford to fill the whole store up when we first opened, but we knew what we were going to do once we could afford to do it. And the
Right.
people that got it. And that's when we started doing special orders, because if you couldn't afford to have all this stuff in here, you could have people order it if you just had a few of them.
Correct.
And that really helped us build our inventory when we first opened, because we just
Smart.
didn't have the sheer capital to fill out the whole space at
I mean,
first.
a weekend would come. We're like, yes, the weekend's here. Everybody's come down to enjoy the beach and the town, and like they just wipe you out. And you're like, oh man, we got to stock this
we
place
gotta
up for
get
next
more
weekend,
stuff. Yeah.
or nobody's gonna come back because we have nothing to sell.
But yeah. So,
Oh
and
gosh, that's stressful.
well, and then you fight the thing of impression. Like when people come in, their first impression.
Yeah.
And
You have to have something there, right?
yeah, you can't just be selling yourselves like, hey, I promise there's stuff coming.
Yeah.
And I think people just saw the honesty of that, and we
Yeah.
were just honest about it. We were like, this is our dream. This is what it's going to end up being. It's just going to take some traction, and we're going to get there. And it did. And when we finally got the store filled up, and then we'd see like the ebb and flow of inventory, and we learned how to understand buying for the quarters and how to put stuff on sale. And, we learned a lot that's really important to scaling your business. So, but when we first opened, There was nothing.
9
It is
seasons
a
in
learning
now,
curve.
so we got it figured out hopefully.
Yeah, it was.
And retail's one of those hard businesses where
Gosh, it's so difficult.
you're dependent on people
Walking
walking
in the door.
into the door, right?
Buying.
And like in this world of like, I think everybody's trying to get away from retail. You guys have done an extremely good job of merging the two. I mean, we can talk about that in a little bit, but your store gets the foot traffic, the people come in, and you guys continue to be successful there. That's pretty awesome. Why Beaufort linen? Like, of all the things that you guys decided to do, here you again, great jobs.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to sell
They were great
pillows.
jobs.
I'm making light of it. It's
saying,
not
yeah,
pillows.
yeah.
Right?
That's what people probably thought it was.
What is it a love for the linen type stuff and the design, or was it you felt like there was a void in this area for that job? Like, people thinking about opening businesses and things like that. Why did you choose that?
That category.
Well, I think it was twofold for me. And Richie was really integral in helping me understand this. He had such a passion for boating and such a passion for this area. And I would take inventory of just seeing how passionate you were about it here. And I'm like, what am I passionate about? What do I love? And I would come home every day and I would play the piano and I'd redecorate the house. I'd help friends pick stuff out. I would help clients pick stuff out. And so I was like, I think that's my passion is the decorating. And then also he had a little place down here before we moved here full time. And I was finding it really difficult to find things for the house.
Yeah.
So we would end up just because I always wanted to shop local. So I'd get as much as I could locally. And then I'd have to drag stuff down from either Raleigh or,
Yeah, because you couldn't find it here.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think you really helped me understand like a passion because you're so passionate about boating and here. And I was like, wow, I took that inventory.
What do I love?
Yeah, I was like, what do I love? This is really tough, Like,
Yeah.
Because, you're so ingrained, go to college, get your degree, work in that degree, work in that field. And I felt like I was working twice as hard to just break even.
Yeah.
Because I was good at my job, but it wasn't my natural God-given talent.
Right.
And so then
It wasn't fulfilling, really,
yeah,
overall.
Yeah, well, and I just felt like I was really treading water, whereas I could just go see a room and populate it in my head, and it was just easy.
Yeah.
And I did have a retail background. My parents had a retail store, so I knew how it worked. I knew the whole widget thing, like buy it, sell it, all that. So I think that's where we just figured out our passions and tried to couple that with something that was missing in the area.
I love that.
So
That's cool.
no education in design is what you're telling me.
None, no. And I'm so honest with people about that. I'm not an
Oh, yeah. I
ASID.
remember the first day in the store, somebody was like, do you decorate houses? And she's like, well, I don't have a degree in it, but I'd be happy to help you.
Yeah.
Then the rest is history.
That's
What's
great.
so funny about even like I think passion is more important than any education you can ever do, because if you have a passion for it, you just have this crazy appetite to be the best at it. Just learn it, consume it, do it nonstop without anything associated with it. I don't have a marketing degree. Nancy doesn't have a marketing degree.
Yeah.
I have a business
didn't go-
degree, but not a marketing.
We didn't go to film school, but it was that
Right.
crazy burn to learn. And even today, like I feel like the whole
you can just
team,
see it.
like you just constantly want to learn. You constantly want to be the best. You constantly want to upgrade. And no, I just think that's really awesome, because I think people like yourself will always be successful because you love it.
Yeah.
Right. You're not doing it because this is what taught me in school. And also, as you have, like, I think a mindset outside of what you've been taught, like this should go here because, versus, nah, you got that gut feeling like this goes here because I just know it's an instinct, right? How about you?
Well, I was going back to where you said you didn't have a degree in film, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I saw there was a podcast, or you had posted something that was like a Crystal Coast Outer Banks
Yeah.
trailer.
Yeah.
And it was like so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've hired good too. Like, so I'm
Yeah.
not saying I don't have the capabilities, but our team is really amazing.
Yeah.
Like, so you know how that is. Like, you start, and it was the beginning. It was just, us. And I don't want to talk a whole lot about us, but it was just us making videos and doing things. And
Right.
certainly we kept getting better and better and better. But there is an element of building the proper team. And I see the work that we produce now, and we haven't even started. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
the exciting part, is like, I truly feel like we haven't even started. We're just really getting getting ready.
Wow. Right.
And because you have all these eyes, everyone has a different skill set. Everybody's really good at certain things. And then when you see like that trailer or the thing we did for Outer Banks, you're like, let's go.
It like really makes you so excited to do more.
And it's just so fulfilling to do that. And then it's really fulfilling to do that for businesses, right? So in this age of like cell phone, all I need is a cell phone. And in a lot of cases, all you need is a cell phone. But when you get to this true branding pieces of where like you want to make your business level up and be that, I mean, let's be honest, if I'm selling a certain tier product, I want my media, my marketing to kind of align with that at times.
Right.
So that's what we do, you know, and be able to meet with our clients and learn about their businesses from the inside all the way out, I think is just the thing for me that I think we love, like, is learning the business and then making the material for it to grow it. But yeah, it's a passion.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is a passion.
For sure.
Well, and there's no barrier to entry for knowledge, really, at this point, where you've got the internet and you can learn anything you want.
Information's at your fingertips.
Yeah, and you can do all these classes virtually. Mm-hmm. So if you truly want to learn about something, that's something that, you know, 10 years, 15 years ago even, was not as possible. Nope. And now anything you want to learn, if you really want to learn it, you can.
And you can't teach that.
Yeah,
you know, everybody has the same opportunities, but people don't take advantage of those opportunities. Absolutely. And to learn the things that they want to. You know,
so as a married couple, have you guys found that you have specific roles within the business? So obviously she has a love for the design and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like you have inherently like, whoa, I'm starting to look at things differently now, or like what are your two different roles, if any, or do they blend? Tell me about how that works.
How does that work?
Christina's definitely like kind of leads the charge with the store and like inventory and marketing and meeting with clients, and I'm more on the back end, like all this furniture you see, receiving it, getting it delivered, just all the packing and getting it disposed of. And then, you know, also we kind of back and forth with the kids, so if she needs to jump on something, I'm watching the kids, and if I have to jump on something, we switch off. The kids have definitely like,
it makes you have to schedule a lot.
Yes,
more.
It's all about scheduling. We used to laugh, like, you got to put it on the calendar. Well, no kidding, you do have to put it on the calendar. Because if you don't make time for it, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Isn't that funny how,
I
like,
mean, you got to line up childcare.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like here, right? You know, normally we'd be like, hey, let's just go. We'll go all day. We'll just talk all morning. And it's like, no, we got to break away early to get, you know, our son and the bridge and all that. So
I'm curious, how do you guys operate calendar wise? Do you look at it on a weekly or a daily? Like, I have gotten to the point where I'm like daily.
It's hourly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
it's just put it out there.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's hourly, and like I'll text you and be like, "Look, this just popped up. Don't forget," because it's like so fluid.
Yeah.
And you know, the reality is, like, Friday we were supposed to get in a shipment of like 23 pieces.
Okay.
It came on Thursday.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
So
and thank God we have an operations manager, Mackenzie.
Yes.
She keeps us
She
straight.
keeps
She's
it.
sending us. She'll send us just like meeting requests, like, hey, this is on your calendar. Just all right, just
making
letting
sure
you know
you
what's
know.
going on. And they're like, all right, now like, we'll scramble and like, you know, make it work and fit and all that.
she is very integral.
Yeah, we couldn't operate without her.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's, you know, you quickly have to.
You got to have great people.
Yeah.
And
You're
to
so
grow
right
and
about that.
be great. You got to have great people surrounding you.
Especially as you get bigger, because we have that issue. You're in your business all the time. You can't focus on your business. And so having those people to help you is huge, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'd be like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, dude, that feels like 2 months from now.
Like, I really don't know.
The weekend, I'm not worried about the weekend. Like, it's
gotta get
midday
through
today.
today.
Like, if I get through the day, and then I'm working on tomorrow, and then you do have some larger goals. I'm not saying like you're you know,
You plan,
unorganized,
but no.
Yeah.
But it is funny. So being a successful business, I always talk with people. In order to be successful, it always requires sacrifice. And the sacrifices at times you can be judged by others. Like, so for us, like, I always joke with, like, it comes from a sacrifice from maybe soccer games, and maybe a birthday party, or maybe, you know, whatever it is. But you have to be okay with those sacrifices. And what are some of those sacrifices you guys think you guys have had to make in order to be as successful as you are, to continue as you grow?
Well, I can speak from a standpoint of being on the receiving end of you sacrificing some things. I'm really bad about being a night owl. That's when I get a lot of my creative work done, and when I get a lot of my to-do list, and I can just focus. I'm just a naturally born night owl. And so I'm really thankful for you, because he's taken the role of getting up early with the kids so that I can stay up late.
That's awesome.
True.
And you never begrudge me for it or try to,
Make you feel bad.
stomp around like passive aggressively. Like,
Do you need to tell me something?
Three out of the 4 in our family are sleepers.
Yeah.
Our youngest child is basically going to be a morning person. He's going to be our fisherman,
our sportsman.
hunter, sportsman,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. He likes to get up at like 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the
early.
morning. Oh, yeah. And I thought it was just, it's just a phase. Because I remember our oldest kind of went through a phase like that. But he likes to sleep in normally like a normal person. But our youngest,
Like a normal person.
No, this is going on like 3 months now. It's like,
Yeah.
no, this is him. This is him. It's going to be like this for a while. So.
But I think that's a huge micro sacrifice that is a huge sacrifice. You know what I mean? It's these little micro sacrifices.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just being a parent. Everybody.
Yeah,
makes
but
that
you
sacrifice.
never
It's not
get
true.
upset.
It's not just being a parent. Like this truly is, and this is why I think you're successful, right? Because you're not thinking about it that way. And like, so other
It's your
couples,
attitude.
it's your attitude. And like, this is really why we want to kind of talk with couples on this, because of that attitude that you guys have toward each other of like, really, you have the same drive. I mean, you have
Same
the
goals,
same
same drive.
goals. And because of that, you just do it. Like we just do it.
Yeah.
So no, kudos to that. I think it's pretty awesome. I think we've gotten better about the night out because I'm the same way. Like I feel like
2 in the
we work
morning.
all day, right? I'll have dinner, and I think the problem is like my mind doesn't stop. Like it just doesn't stop.
I agree with that.
And so you'll eat dinner, and then it's like I have to, right? And then you look up, it's 3 a.m, and you're like, I gotta stop. Like, and we've tried to make it a better point to break that off a little bit, because who knows how long you can keep that up.
Right. Or you burn
It's
out.
not sustainable.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it's a funny
But
story.
you love it. That's the problem. When you love it, it becomes almost like a drug. I don't know how to explain it.
Completely get it. Yep.
We were out of town, and our babysitter's amazing. She was staying with the kids at our house.
This is terrible, by
It's
the way.
so bad. It's so bad. But they were getting ready to have dinner, and they're like, "Well, we can't have dinner yet." And she says, "Well, why not?" He goes, "Because it's not dark outside."
No.
We always eat
you're
at like
like,
7:30 or 8.
Oh,
It's
so do we.
late.
Yeah.
But that's just what we do because
Yeah.
our schedules are so crazy, right? But
You know
kids
what?
get used
But
to
one
it.
of the things that I've found that I think is important with people and families that own businesses is like we get to teach our kids things that otherwise they'd never had the opportunity to.
Right.
Like,
Sure.
we try to bring them on shoots and do things that they'd never have the opportunity to do.
Right.
You know, as you invest in properties or whatever it is you get into, you get to teach those things as well that 5, 7-year-olds never get the opportunity to
Right.
until later in life. So I'm really big on whether it's your employees or your family is using your opportunities to teach others to make it better. Right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Looking through this list, man, we've already been going for 22 minutes. That's insane. When did you realize that your shop was going to be successful?
Well, I think every day I still think, is this the day? So I'm not sure I have
She
realized
shouldn't be
it
like that,
yet.
but she
Pinch yourself every day, and you're just
Well,
She feels like we're going out of business every day.
every day, if I'm not beating myself the following day, I feel like that's it. And so far, we've been beating ourselves for 9 seasons. And that's a success in itself that I don't think I naturally see.
I understand that.
And I think I may never, if I'm just being honest.
It's called being humble, by the way.
Well, I'm really, this is not like what's your biggest flaw?
Yeah.
My biggest flaw is that I'm early to everything and great at it all. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I think it really is the truth. Like, I really do feel every single day, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, if
I get
I
it.
don't go out and kill something and drag it home, like, this is it. And so I think I realized, though, after a couple seasons in, that people were really keeping their finger on the pulse of what the new stuff was that we were getting in, and they were trusting us with bigger things. That
Your pajama line, by the way.
oh my gosh, that was
awesome.
and that's something we want to get back to doing, is the design and manufacturing side of things, so that we are actually able to create things that are not seen anywhere else and missing in the market.
Sure.
And so that's a big focus with this store.
I love that.
So Beaufort Linen is our first baby. Then we spun off Beaufort Linen Interiors, and now Regatta is the new brand. And what we'd like to do is get back into sourcing and manufacturing and designing, so that we could wholesale to others, or we might just do direct to consumer and give a better price point. We haven't
like that.
decided yet, but that's always been our big focus. And that's the thing that you don't see in business, are the outside things that are uncontrollable. For us, it was hurricanes.
Yeah.
And then COVID, which was actually a really good thing in the end. Not COVID,
But the way it changed.
but the way it
business.
changed
Right.
our town and business and all that. And so you have to evolve daily with your business. And really, truly, it's a living, breathing being. And you have to take its
not a set it and
temperature.
forget it,
And
for sure.
yeah, exactly. So that's a long-winded way to answer that. I don't know if
No, that's
I'll
great.
ever feel like we made it, like
Yeah.
we've always joked, we made it. And I don't know if do you feel that way?
I mean, I feel like you get so comfortable, it's almost like you need to move on to something else.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, because you've learned all the
you've
things
learned
that you
everything,
didn't know before.
and
And
passion's maybe not there, and it's going to
That's
go
called
somewhere
that's
else.
called that's called you made it. I'm just gonna give you the heads up here.
Oh,
That's
wait,
called
you
made
feel
it.
like you're comfortable?
No.
Oh.
I'm saying once you get that feeling.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. No. I don't think I'll ever feel like, okay, I've learned it all. And I think retail is kind of addictive in that way because there
It's always
is no way to.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like fashion. I mean, the styles
Everything changes.
always evolving, always changing. Every day's different. You never know what's going to happen.
Who's going to walk in and who's going to spend or who's not, or who's going to see you and expose your brand to a wider platform, or you just don't know. So,
Or do something cool like this podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Some
Yeah.
people just like all a random text message.
I was like, I think Christina was like, "Hey, on Saturday," she's like, "Hey, by the way, we got a podcast Monday morning at 9:30." And
I
I'm
couldn't
like,
let you think about it all week. You'd be freaking out about it.
See,
It's like,
that's
never
where I
done one of
love
those
this,
before.
because she knows you so well.
Yeah, she does.
She knows you so
Just drop
well.
it on me last minute.
Yeah.
It works best.
Yeah.
Then I can't stress about it.
And then you know how I know you guys are super cool because you guys didn't say like, well, what are you going to ask us? Can you send me some questions?
Yeah, no, I think we do better on the fly.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
y'all?
Same
I would
here.
say that. I think I would get really nervous if you're like, "Hey, these are our talking points," and I would just over analyze it. And
So like a trick for me, like whenever we do a shoot, people ask, well, I need to have the questions up front. Dude, the 4 questions I give you, I don't care about. like that's a trick. I give you the 4 questions that are just home run. Like, what's your name? Like, why do you love what you do?
Right.
Whatever. Like all that is to build rapport to where everybody feels comfortable. And
Sure.
then that's when the questions come.
The in
Like,
Yeah.
between
All right, here we go.
conversation.
yeah. All right. Now we're going to do the real. Wait, there's more questions.
Wait, that wasn't on the list.
How long did you guys know, like beforehand, have you always wanted to own a business? And when you did have that, did you guys start saving money? Like, what did you do in life to get to the point to where you could open a business? I mean, it's a
Yeah.
financial cost. It's a financial burden.
risk,
You don't
yeah.
know when the dollars will start rolling in. Like, when did you decide to do it? And then what did you do to get to that point?
After figuring out this was my passion, I still remember the night that I came into the bedroom and was like, "Hey, Beaufort Linen Company, what do you think?" And
Such
you're
a
like,
good name, by
It
the way.
is.
it was a good name.
Well,
I mean, it's a small town. You want to fit in to the neighborhood because I mean it's a small town. You gotta kind of jump through the hoops to do business in the historic district. So you wanted something that would like catch on with the community.
Sure.
But I think the thing about us is I have ideas, but I can be a little more conservative. And I told you about it, told you what I wanted to do. I had started talking to a lot of other shop owners in other areas that are similar to ours to kind of vet if the success and understand it. And you said, we're doing it, and this is where we're doing it. And you 100% believed in it, and you never faltered from that. You were
love
always
that.
like, this is going to be successful, and this is where it has to be if you want it to be successful. And Richie had that knowledge because he grew up coming here. I didn't really understand. I just knew I didn't want to sleep on my dreams any longer. Once we decided, we saved the money up from our normal salaries because we did have good jobs before. And then I always joked, it cost about the same amount as buying a new Suburban to open the business.
That I mean, basically that's what it was. But I mean, obviously a lot of risk with it because
Sure.
you're like you're doing this.
Well,
thing,
you're giving
people
up,
Are like,
yeah.
What is this? This is just we just thought this up, or Christina thought this up, and we're like, man, is this going to actually work? So that's the gamble. But from a money spark, it's like anybody goes out and buys a new car. Like if you're in college.
Yeah. It's
It's
attainable.
it's the first person what they want to do is they want to buy a new car for myself. So it's like just basically.
But if
getting a
we
loan,
thought
you know
about
what I
it that
mean?
way, or for me, if I thought about it that way, it was a lot less scary.
Yeah,
Because
true.
I was like, okay, I could either buy
Oh,
a
it's
new
scary
car,
though because you buy all
or-
this
Invest
stuff
in
and
my
it's
future.
like,
It's something I
is it
love.
going to move?
I
Is it
hope
going to
someone likes
sell?
it.
Because the Amex bill's coming up at
Yeah.
the end of the month. So
But we were sitting at Finn's when we saw the space come up because it was Bell's Drugstore
I
for
remember.
The timing of that is awesome too, by the way.
such a God thing.
Yeah.
I 100%
100%.
believe about that. I mean, we had prayed about it too a lot, and it popped up. We got the space, and Johnny was so kind he had a lot of interest in it, and for whatever reason, he said, I always just believed in you guys. I didn't really understand it,
Aw,
but
awesome.
I believed in you guys. And so I think if anybody's thinking about opening a business, maybe do a little more homework than we did, because it was like, we didn't run, we ran a lot of numbers, but there was also like things that just happened so quickly. We didn't have time to think too
Your
fast.
passion was driving you, though.
Yeah. Like we were just like, boom, we got to go.
Sometimes too much planning can deter you from something that you really
I
want to
agree
do.
with that.
Yeah.
I really agree with that. So
Because it can get scary the more you think.
the more you think about
the
it.
more you think about it.
I have this is kind of a semi-personal question. It says, what's the biggest fight you've had with your spouse in business?
Oh gosh, probably
Like back office stuff.
always.
All the
Buys too much?
like
No.
if it's like payroll or taxes, I mean that's usually
y'all hate
paying
those.
taxes.
It's like a little slip up where you forget to do the quarterly or
'cause
something,
you got all
and then you get
the main stuff you're doing, but then it's like your back office stuff. You're like,
it's the
I was a little late on paying that, so
and it's never intentional. It's
No,
just like it gets
it's just
overlooked,
so much.
and then
You
I'm
get
like,
overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah.
and it's just like,
so I'd say those are always the fights we get into.
Those are the things that the general public will never see or understand, and
No.
you only understand the pains of them when you have to pay them on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You're like,
oh no, when you're working for somebody else, they take care of it all for you. You don't
Oh,
realize
God.
how
kind of nice.
like easy you got it.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, so those, I definitely think that's been it. But I think really we kind of slide into the roles back and forth when we have to. But I'm not saying that we don't argue, because
Oh,
if
gosh,
someone
of
says that,
course.
that is a total.
If you're not arguing, it's not a healthy relationship.
Yeah,
That's the truth.
you're not fully vested.
yeah.
I love that.
You guys kind of already hit on this a little bit, and we've got maybe 2 or 3 more questions to kind of finish this up. But when did the Regatta come about, and why? I know you talked about it a little bit before that, but we are sitting in this place that I found out is not fully open yet,
No.
which is kind of cool. Why?
So Christina's been kind of toying with this idea for the past few years now,
And then I just kept getting pregnant.
and kids come,
It's kind of your fault too. bro.
yeah, it's a joint effort, right?
Yeah, and I
Takes
mean,
two.
you definitely. We didn't want to do this while we were in that really baby stage.
Sure.
That would have been tough for
So-
sure.
Yeah,
But I think
kids come first.
Yeah. This one is a project that I think could be franchisable. And
Okay.
that's where we've really always said we wanted to exercise a little bit more.
You're going to need a bigger team because it's going to happen.
I think it is. I really,
I really do.
Thank you, Josh. I mean, I don't know. We've worked so hard and learned so much at our other space, but Beaufort Linen will always just be in my heart.
Yeah.
100%.
And I don't know if I could share that with somebody else. So if to remove a little bit of I don't know how else to explain it. Like,
Yeah, but I think
I totally get it.
but I think Beaufort Linen is what inspires everything else.
oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like
Everything else.
without Beaufort Linen, I don't think
Right.
you would be the same with where your mind goes. Like that gives you access to things, and that probably gets the wheels spinning in the brain. And like I could do this, and you take that away, it's like the roots of the whole tree. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, don't give
That's
it
like
away.
home base.
Never. That's what a
base.
lot of people, when we first decided to do this, were like, "Are you selling Beaufort Linen? Is Beaufort Linen closing?" We're like, "No, nothing there will change ever if we had our way. It just we have to." We also are business people on top of loving design. And I think it's fun to think about growth in different ways and see if we can be as successful doing other things. So it's just pushing ourselves out of our, I don't know if I'll ever, I don't know if we'll, poor
never be
Richie.
comfortable.
You won't be comfortable.
No.
That's not your personality.
Yeah.
So we
That
understand.
really leads in this other question. It's like, where do you guys think you'll be in 10 years
Well,
or 5 years?
I get
10
some
years?
wild hair sometimes about wanting to travel.
Yeah, there's no telling.
I get those every couple of months.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no telling.
That's like
Sky's the
my early-
limit.
That was like
Yeah.
my earlier question. Like, what are you doing this week?
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody
long
thinking
time.
about 10
I
years.
mean, honestly, I think if this is to be successful the way we would see it being successful, we definitely would want to have other shops that are franchised out with this one. Beaufort Linen, hopefully, will just be doing its Beaufort Linen thing. And then we've toyed with the idea of traveling with the boys and just,
That
Making
sounds
memories.
amazing.
well, we loved a road trip. That's definitely something that we share.
Oh, I've seen you guys do the road
So
trip.
so when you say the road trip, like when you say road trip, do you is it pre-planned road trip or like
No.
we're getting in the car and let's see where we end up?
That.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
I
sounds
like that
great.
a
Well, we
lot.
always have a destination, but then we're like, we'll find somewhere cool and we'll stay there for like an
We'll
extra night or
pitter-patter
something
down
like
and-
that.
That's
Yeah.
great.
What's the
Kind of
coolest
picture it.
find you've done so far? Like, what's the road trip that we should take?
Ooh. You know, we didn't agree on this one, but I love St. Mary's.
St. Mary's down in Florida.
Georgia.
right on
Florida
the
border.
Yeah, the Florida-Georgia line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's a band.
Yeah.
I did a shoot down there. Believe it or not, it's so
Did you
weird.
really?
Yeah, you look at Florida, right?
Yeah, it's just like marsh and like a little river creek
Yeah.
right there,
that's
and then
cool.
like you look right across and there's Florida, but to
Yeah.
like by road it's like hours to
Yeah.
get there, but by boat they say it's like 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
So what was the win about that? What was so awesome?
I can't explain it. It was kind of like Beaufort was when we first got here. Super, super sleepy, but people there were, there was characters. And y'all know there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of characters here
Oh, yeah.
too. And I really liked the architecture there. I really liked the landscape. It was just a cool place.
So it
great.
sounds like there's
St.
going to
Mary's.
be eventually a shop in St. Mary's.
I
I'm
mean,
just
I
gonna
don't-
say that because I think this is what you do. You find out where you like to go, and it
Yeah.
like fits the portfolio.
Darn, I gotta go to
And
work.
this is you know,
Well, there's a lot of
rinse,
cool
repeat.
towns on the East Coast.
There really
Even
are.
on
Yeah.
the Gulf Coast too. When we went to 30A.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. We're always looking for cool places that we haven't been and just can explore with the boys. That's the big thing. Find things that are good for us and the boys so we all have fun together. So that's been one of my favorites. I don't know if you have any other favorites.
I think was it Grayton Beach.
Grayton Beach was
Gulf Coast of
super
Florida?
cool. Yeah, we loved it
That's
there
cool.
too.
That place, it's like
Josh is writing that one
it was
down.
like Ocracoke and
Grayton
Beaufort,
Beach.
kind of like, and Atlantic Beach maybe kind of like all mixed
All
into
had a baby.
one in a
It was
blender.
like, yeah. Yeah, that was a cool. You're right. We
'Cause
really
you
liked
had like
that
the
place.
historical houses there, and then like they had like roads that like went from pavement to like sand, and
cool.
it's just
Nice.
it's just so small. And then there was like the little saltwater pond right off to the like I guess the east of it, and just seaplane came in and like landed
Wow.
right there. I
Yeah.
was like, where in the world? This
That's
is
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
A one that I like was we went to Gulf Shores. Have you ever been to Gulf Shores,
Yeah.
Alabama? I didn't expect like
Oh, that was a cool
I honestly
place.
like when I was there, I was like I didn't expect all of it.
It was
right?
during
like,
COVID, right?
Yeah, it was
Which
during
was really
COVID.
odd
But
because
like
it
like
wasn't
some
like
of the
there's COVID there.
architecture is very like Miami, and
Yeah.
then like it just felt interesting. Like everything about the town was like super conservative still, and then it had a little bit of like the Myrtle Beach vibes, but then it had some of the Miami vibes. It's like where am I right
what
now?
is
I was
this?
like,
Weird.
What is this place? But
Yeah.
it's kind of neat. Cool. One last question, I guess, is and this is just thinking about other couples or other businesses. Like, what do you wish you had known before you started that someone else should be thinking about if they're thinking about starting a business? That's kind of a loaded
So-
question.
Oh, yeah,
Or like,
that's
what do you wish
loaded.
you had known? Like, what is something like if I'd have known this one little thing, it would have helped out? Or like, what's that one pitfall maybe you had? Maybe it's something to do with registering business in the right way, or
Yeah.
hiring an accountant, or whatever. What is the thing that you guys would put in your mind is like that one thing I wish I'd just maybe known a little bit more at an earlier time?
I think I might be a little more risky. I think
I see.
you always trust your gut. I think that's the big one is if you've got that tickle and it's like,
It doesn't go away.
yeah, like be really mindful of that. But I think I would try to be a little bit more risky. There's been property.
His face says it. That was a very low question. I'm gonna kind of go with what you're saying. I mean, you can overthink it and maybe talk yourself out of it. You just gotta jump in the deep end. It's like sink or swim. You'll figure it out. If something comes up, you can always figure it out. You can always like, if you make a mistake, if it's an honest mistake, you can just do the right thing and get out of it.
Yeah.
And then you learn. You just learn. I mean,
Yeah.
most people I've talked to, these like you just figure it out.
Well, there's no guidebook.
There is no guidebook.
Yeah.
to, like,
But that's the fun part.
truly.
It's like a puzzle. Like you always get to just put it together. But I don't know. I feel like there's been like
that makes it
properties
scary,
and
but
things.
also exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just wish sometimes we'd be, not we, it's me really, would be more risky about like buying the property or, jumping in on something instead of holding on to the capital.
Yeah.
Because I can be a little bit like, I got to have this much in the bank to
Yeah.
feel comfortable. And if I
Yeah.
don't have this much, what are we going to do?
It sounds so
Well, I
familiar.
don't know. Right now, they're saying that's what you should be doing right now. If you read the news, like,
Yeah. But are y'all like that? Like you feel like you're?
Yeah.
This is honestly
So
why we wanted to do this, because
Yeah.
I don't think people understand what it really is to own a business, especially with your partner and your significant other. And I love how you guys bounce ideas off each other, and everything you've said. I'm just laughing inside because we've had the exact same experiences. Where sometimes he always goes, well, you can't think about the past. I'm like, I wish we would have done this. I wish we would have done that. Always. And he goes, things
Well, I'm
happen
guilty
for a
of that.
reason.
I'll dwell on something and like, oh, we should have done that.
Yes.
But it's
we
like,
do
no,
it
it worked
too.
out.
Yeah, and you learn
Things
for the
happen a
next
reason.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Going
real
with your gut.
But the real estate thing always pans out as long as you're not making a really stupid. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Like really, like man, we're overpaying big time for this. If you get like as you know, it takes a chunk of money to buy those things, and you
stressful.
work so hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god. Then it comes with once you buy, it comes with all the headaches.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It comes with all the taxes. Comes with all the other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we. In our early age, you guys sound like you were pretty financially smart. We were not. Like this is something that people don't know about us. Like our early days, right? Our situation was different.
Well, not by choice, really. For me, it was an age thing. I sing, and I don't know a lot of people if they know that, but I wanted to make sure I gave that a good go.
Yeah.
And it was me. And
Yeah.
so I had to finance it, and I had to pay the producers that overcharged
Yeah.
and the photos. And
Yeah.
this was before we did music production. So for me, it was, I have to do this now. And yeah, it puts you in debt because you only have a short period of time to do
Right.
that. Back
Right.
then, now it's different with social media, but we
Right.
didn't have
But
that
everything
then.
that was learned along those ways. So
Yeah.
the things people don't know about Nancy and I is like before we had TRIWORKS, we both worked 3 jobs, and we both worked 3 jobs to pay off the debt because we both wanted to have a family, and we didn't want to have family with debt.
Right.
So I mean, we like talking about like, hey, I'm going back to Raleigh. It was like high fiving you see it in the morning, and it was like that for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And but it had to happen in order to do what we do today.
Right,
You know.
right.
And so I think it all comes back down to that really.
We didn't take that and make an excuse for it,
Yeah.
right? We just worked through it and we made it work.
Mm-hmm.
And
then
now
we supported
because
each
of
other.
it, like you learn, man. Life is just so awesome when you get to mess up in big ways. You really do learn big things of like not
Yeah.
ever again. And part of that learning, it could be financial, it could be people, it could be employees. Like you learn from everything around you. And I think that's the exciting part about business. Is we always joke about like that sick gut feeling you get in your belly.
Yeah.
Like I've learned to really love it, and because I feel like the more you do, the more comfortable you get with
And
it. You're
trust
like,
it.
or you won't get it for a while, and you're like, man, why aren't I getting nervous anymore? Like I remember every shoot we would go on, I'd be like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah.
You know, like every one
100%.
because that's the one. Like this
Yeah.
is the one that like whatever. And like now it's like it doesn't matter who it is or who it's for, where we're at or who we're like. There's none. Like there's none of that nervousness anymore because you've just done it so many times. So when you get that gut check, right, you're like, oh yeah,
We
there
still
it is.
get 'em
right?
every now and then.
And,
Yeah.
and it's a good thing to do. And yeah, the gut decisions have never been wrong. Like the gut decisions have never been wrong. So like if you hear that from everybody that's ever been successful, like if you have that gut feeling and it's really becoming really good at listening to that, like immediately.
Not ignoring it.
So anyways, yeah. Any closing remarks, Nancy? I'm sorry for talking so much. I always do.
No, that was the goal to have them talk. 'Cause we really wanted to hear your story. And this all came about because I don't think the partners in business ever get recognized together. It's always separate. And so for us, there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes in owning a business, but then also owning a business together and having a family. And it's just really great to hear y'all's story. And thank you for sharing it with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
I mean, going back 10 years, like interviewing y'all to like
It's so
do our
great.
wedding, or y'all were interviewing us because I mean, I really don't do weddings, but I'm gonna see if this is like something I want to do. But I mean, who would have thought we'd be sitting right here at this table, like doing
wild.
this?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew your love for
Mind-blowing.
Beaufort, and we were so happy when you're like, we're actually moving there. We're like, what?
Yeah.
And I think that's
We're so
the
happy for you.
wonderful thing about life is just doing is always like the lack of doing is just not an option, but like
Right.
the doing is what like makes the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know when that moment's going to come back. It could be like a month, it could be 6 months, it could be like 10 years,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like that's time and time again as you just put your head down and work, you're like, my God, you know so many people and it's like so many awesome relationships. And at the end of the day, I think that's what we love more than anything.
That's
is
the
like,
best part is the
you,
relationships. I
you,
think.
you have all these this journey of life, right?
Yeah.
And this we're lucky to know that our job allows us to have such a cool journey of life, and you guys are the same way. How many people have
Walk through your doors that you meet.
Think about this: how many homes have you built?
Wow.
How many
Yeah.
homes
It's-
and memories will be in these places that, believe it or not, it was all because of you. Like how many Thanksgiving dinners, how many Christmas dinners, how many times grandma came in, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just a really cool when you think about that aspect of how you do things. It changes why you're in business. Like
Oh, absolutely.
and it's really cool. So Thank you guys for the time.
Thank
We've
you.
gone way
Thank you so
longer.
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Way
it.
longer than we had tried to do on this thing, but it was just a good flow of things. And I didn't want to break it up. So,
Yep.
all right,
Appreciate it.
the Regatta. You guys see it in.
Thanks, guys.
Hopefully, by the time this comes out, you can come see it.
That's our hope. Yeah.
Yeah.